I kind of just scribbled it down, but I was like, after our game, Clayton, where like we were just constantly trying to reverse jinx ourselves, and I don't know if either of you guys know that like in like the '60s there was a TV show called Queen for a Day. It is a concept that has not aged well. It was a game show where like 3 women who had like shitty lives would come on, tell their like sad life story, and then like the host or a panel of judges or an applausometer or something would like decide which of these 3 wretched people was the most wretched. Then they'd get like and they would give that person a cape and a scepter and a crown, and there was probably some kind of actual prize that went with this, $2,000 or whatever was a big deal in the '60s, and that was it. You just watched people's fucking misery unfold. It was basically what would eventually turn into shit like Jerry Springer, but like with a much more kind of like genteel attitude to it. It was still kind of like, it's vaguely like voyeuristic and like a little sick. But the fact that they're constantly talking about how like miserable they are, it made me think, oh man, like if I wasn't so married to the branding of Fun World Order, I would have changed my team name to Patrick Queen for a Day. Hey, it's a heat check. Yep, that's what we're doing. We just did it. Yeah, good evening, one and all, or whatever time of day it happens to be. I'm Danno, the commissioner. Again, I skipped 3 weeks worth of introducing myself. So, it's a very pleasant fall evening here in the back deck of the Funhouse. Well, I'm just so pumped to get through the action. Especially because I am on my sort of walkabout week. I had like 4 fricking wrestling matches at a DJ gig and 3 hangovers in only 2 days. Don't ask me how that's possible. So I'm living life to the fullest for this week, and that means, of course, getting in and talking about all the sweet action in our league. Firstly, let me introduce our base defense. First, returning to us after a couple of weeks, it's Clayton. Clayton, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I had my first loss this week, but I was kind of expecting that, as I told you guys.
Yes, as you did.
Ago,
as you made a point of telling.
I'm still trying to move Pickens.
And then I counter-told.
He counter-jinxed me. I gotta change my team.
This is gonna like create like this ugly standard of like people having to constantly undercut one another with how shitty they are. But anyway, sitting next to you, returning to us again.
What's up, shitheads? It's me, your boy, the number 1 fat boy! From Northampton County, $1,000 town, the Black Goat. I got my bumping pants on. He's a fantasy football manager. His team looks like shit. Brian House!
Nice.
Oh man, you must. That was great. You after feeling so stifled last week, it must have been nice to cut loose. Once again, guys, we just have a pretty good knack for picking out the games of the week that are gonna cause drama. It was me and Clayton, the battle of the 2 unbeaten teams, and as usual, it culminated in a decisive Monday night football game with the fascinating narrative of Clayton having George Pickens and me having Malik Neighbors and the Steelers defense. I will remind everybody what I predicted last week during my extreme reverse jinxing. And Pickens probably going to get like 3 fucking touchdowns or something. And wouldn't you know it, George Pickens catches one super beautiful touchdown pass from Russell Wilson, which is called back because Broderick Jones face masked somebody. Not long after that, he makes another absolutely insane grab for another score, but because it is determined on video review that he hopped twice on one foot and never got his left foot down, and that is somehow less of a thing that is a catch, So no score there. And then in the fourth quarter, he got like a 50 air yard pass from Russell Wilson, but was pushed out at like the 3. So that is 1, 2, 3 almost touchdowns. I'm like some kind of shitty Nostradamus, even though we've already had one of those on this show.
I'd like to point out that Nick was wrong. Saquon Barkley did not get you 28 points.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had to check back in on the fearless prediction. Thank you. And yeah, he clocked in with a meager, serviceable 12. So Nick actually has a lot of wrongness to answer for, which we will get to later. Tell us, number one fuckboy, how did your game go this week?
My game went pretty well. It was WrestleMania 17.
Oh, great one.
Edge Christian versus the Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys. So it was me versus...
You had a triple threat.
Yeah. Me versus Rob versus injuries.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
I came out on top and, just like the tables, ladders, and chairs match, Rhino lifted up Christian, just like CeeDee Lamb lifted up myself to get the belt and win the match.
Yeah, a 40-foot ladder by CeeDee Lamb. Hey, it's our friendly neighborhood bartender. Derek, how are you doing today, sir?
Wonderful. How are you?
Oh, just great. How did it go for you this week?
I got crushed.
Let's have a look here.
Absolutely crushed.
Oh, now this is interesting. So you took the L to Nick, who was just full of complaints about his own team last week, both on the air and off. I saw him on like Friday night or Saturday night, and he was just screaming about, "Look at my bench! Look at my bench!" I'm not looking at your bench, Nick. I'm looking at your frickin' starting roster that threw up like 150.24 points. Jeez, tough beats there, Derek.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I'm on the podcast every week. So I don't really get this old, come on down to the podcast.
You don't get the rub?
Yeah.
It's just it's worn off for you?
Yeah.
I guess that's it. It's worn out. I was thinking we should get Nick down here and have him bartend, and then you sit down out here. Maybe we'll see if that changes the luck around.
I wouldn't trust him behind my butt.
That is a good segue to go into the punishment watch this week, because, surprise, surprise, we've got a new challenger at number 11.
You suck.
Our friendly neighborhood bartender has occupied there with a record of 2-6. But of course, as always, below him, it's Mark on the 12 spot, who has just hired contractors to build a sun porch onto the 12 spot. Mark had he pretty much always has a heartbreaker of a game, and he lost by 3 points this week, just not getting quite enough from what was otherwise a very nice game by Najee Harris. Najee Harris, speaking of, also got pushed out at the 2 on one of his long runs. So that was a big nut punch. It was also a somewhat lesser nut punch for me, because every time Najee Harris scores a touchdown, I get to play 22 by Taylor Swift through my little Bluetooth speaker and annoy the shit out of everybody in the vicinity. Reminder, because we haven't talked about Derek's punishment in a while, he's doing the Snyder. Any new advice on joke writing, fuckboy?
Here, I got a joke he can have. Let me find it. I wish I was Asian, because then women would have zero expectations.
Clayton, I believe you've done some research, and you have something prepared for us this week.
Yeah, it's basically going to be a two-part segment. For this podcast, we'll do the first part of the segment. What I did was I went through your keepers that you kept this year in the draft. I saw what position they're at and what they're averaging, and I gave you a grade, and I didn't tell Brian or Danno, so they're welcome to chime in if they want to change that grade. And then later on, when I come on, this will be later in the season, we'll go over your potential keepers as you would start thinking about that for the off-season. But just went in order of the draft. Rob, you're the number one pick. You kept Devontae Smith. He is currently 25th among receivers on the Sleeper app, averaging 14.60 points a game. I give that a solid B+.
Sure.
Mark, you kept Jared Goff. He is currently number 13 among quarterbacks, averaging 17.90 points a game. I give that a solid B.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's having a reliable quarterback is one of the biggest bitches of fantasy.
Next, we have Derek, who kept Sam Laporta-Potty from the Detroit Lions. He is currently ranked number 17th among tight ends, only averaging 8.46 points. I give that a solid C+. I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all talked about how that was like the best value keeper, at the time of the draft. But a little surprising. I mean, I guess on a team like the Lions that just has so many different ways to win, not even on offense.
Yeah.
That it's reasonable that like all these like superstar guys like St. Brown probably aren't eating as much as they did last year.
Yeah, and I was surprised. I'll get to that later, but Montgomery and Gibbs crushing it on that team. Just absolutely crushing it. Justin Buca, you kept Romeo Dobbs, or Dobbs, however you pronounce it.
I think it is Dobbs, as in Josh Dobbs. It's just spelled annoyingly.
Yeah. He's currently ranked number 41 among wide receivers, averaging 10.91 points a game. I give that, once again, a solid C+.
I give that an
F+. Click.
Moving on to Howells, my number one fuckboy, who kept David Montgomery. He is currently number 13, averaging 16.20 points a game.
Wow.
I actually give that a solid A.
Yeah, I actually thought he'd be higher than 13th. Like he just has all kinds of crazy games here and there. Fuckboy, would you say that is largely responsible for your high ranking so far through the season?
No.
Next we have Dion, who kept Brock Purdy. He is currently number 5 among quarterbacks in the league, surprisingly. Averaging 19 points a game, so I have to give him an A-.
Hell yeah.
It's a solid keeper right there.
Pretty good.
Now we go the other direction. Lorenzo. You kept a kicker, Matt Gay, who is currently on the waivers.
He immediately dropped him.
He is number 21, which isn't as bad as it could be. Averaging 7.57 points. Because you kept him, he's kind of non-applicable, but I would give you a solid B for that.
That's generous, Clayton. You were a very kind and generous guy. I gave Buka a better grade than I give you.
Next up, we have Miggz, who kind of inherited his team from Drew, as you all remember. Miggz had one choice to keep Alvin Kamara, who is currently number 2 among running backs in the whole league, and averaging 20.40 points a game. Miggz, I give you an A+.
You know what? Can we just look real quick? I want to see how Zamir White is doing.
Must be on his bench.
Yeah,
he had negative 0.1 points last year. He is currently number 69, averaging 3.57 points a game.
Yes, because for those of you who may not be aware, Miggz attempted to keep Zamir White rather than Alvin Kamara or anybody else on that team because he didn't know what the rule was. And I told him, no, you have to keep Alvin Kamara. That is literally the only person that you can keep, and he was annoyed about it. And now he has the second best overall running back.
Next up, myself, I had Rachaad White, who I traded to Buka for Baker Mayfield. He is currently number 25, and he's averaging 13.31 points a game. So, Buka, if you'd like to know, I would give him a B-.
Yeah, it's solid keeper.
Elijah kept the Baltimore Ravens defense, who's currently ranked number 22 out of 32 teams.
Wow.
Averaging 5.63 points a game. Elijah, I got to give you the D. Our beloved Commissioner Danno is next. With his 8-0 record. He kept Zay Flowers, who's actually number 16th among wide receivers, which is not bad, averaging 13.05 points a game. Danno, I give you a B for that.
I'll take that B, and I give myself a C for knowing when to start him.
Lastly, we have Nick, who was the last pick in the draft. He kept Jake Elliott, the kicker from the Philadelphia Eagles, who is currently number 27th out of 32.
What?
Averaging 6.71 points a game. Remember, Nick Sirianni doesn't like to kick field goals the first few weeks. I give you a D for that, Nick. Sorry.
Well, thanks very much, Clayton. I think that was very interesting and illuminating. And we'll check back in with you later in the season to see what the potential keeper outlooks are for next year.
Absolutely.
All right, now let's highlight the game of the week for Week 9. We looked over the slate, and you guys ID'd Dion versus Miggz. Dion at 5-3 versus Miggz at 6-2 is our game of the week right now with rosters that look to be probably as they'll be on Sunday, and it's projected at 50-50. So it's high stakes, high octane. Fuckboy, what do you see as likely the keys to this?
That's right. Jordan Love is questionable. Is there like a...
Yeah, but he has Aaron Rodgers on his bench, and he's questionable.
He has a strained groin. If I had a nickel.
I wish my groin was strained. No, it is.
Alvin Kamara gets to play the Carolina Panthers, so, you know, that's already going to put Dion up against the wall.
Mixon is having a hell of a year. Dion was telling me about this.
Oh, Mixon. Oh, yeah.
Mixon's crushing it.
What is likely to be the difference then? If like Mixon and Kamara have the potential to kind of wash each other out, you know, maybe kind of ditto with Burrow and Love. I think the loss of Aiden Hutchinson in Detroit is going to be a nice thing for Love and his strained groin.
Brown and Adams versus Moore and St. Brown. It's going to depend on who gets into the end zone because one of those four is probably going to go off for 25 plus. You just don't know which one.
Dion's got the Bills defense hosting Miami. Now Tua, I don't believe is coming back this week. Is that right? I haven't heard yet. He's like on some sort of recovery track, but he's not there yet.
He has the Bills on his bench. He currently has the Vikings in now.
Yeah, and I'm actually thinking like I might consider putting the Bills in there. It's a tough call.
I did hear today that the Colts are benching.
They're putting Flacco in there, which means that they're going to beat the shit out of the Vikings, man.
Yeah,
dude.
Well, the Vikings are on the downward trend of the roller coaster, I believe.
Because Joe Flacco, man, he doesn't give up.
Nope.
I spent so many years making fun of that dude in a very mean-spirited way, but I just gotta actually applaud the man for what he's done over the last 2 years. He's just I hope I'm doing that when I'm 37. We've received more reviews. Thank you all to the listeners for contributing those. It really helps us with the algorithms on Stitcher. But Clayton picked this one out of the pile and has given it to me to read. This is from Tara, a 34-year-old Bills fan from Doylestown. I stumbled upon your podcast because I was looking for advice. My AA group convinced me to join their fantasy football league, although I really haven't gotten much advice. I have been very entertained by your podcast humor. I would like to see a picture of the number one fuckboy. He is so funny and sounds sexy. Also, I would love to visit this fun house. It sounds like a good time, and the neighborhood bartender sounds hot as well. But after my 4th DUI, I was court-ordered to quit drinking. All that said, I cannot wait for your next podcast. 5 stars. Well, you know, what's that saying? You got a face for radio? We got a lot of faces for radio.
We also have voices for silent film.
All right, boys. Well, geez, it was a lot. We got through a lot that week. Anything else that you want to throw out there before we roll?
We're over halfway through our season now.
We are. Yeah, we have cleared the halfway point.
Yeah. And the NFL's almost halfway through their season. This is week 9, yeah. This will be the halfway point.
Yep.
The NFL season.
Yep.
Damn, it's gone by quick, huh?
I know. That's time flies when you're getting wasted.
I know nobody else does trades in the league really but me, but just so you guys know, the trade deadline is week 10.
Okay.
So keep that in mind moving forward if you are looking to make a move or in talks with someone.
I want to be more of a, like a GM with trades and stuff to make the league more interactive, but alas, I'm too much of a bitch, as you have found out firsthand, Clayton.
All of them. Always good. It's hard to get rid of your players. You're always like, all right, who's going to win this trade? Like, is it fair?
And the thing with Pickens, too, is, like, I've actually, like, it used to be, like, 10 years ago when I played fantasy, I would be like, I'm not drafting any Ravens. And now, it's, like, the other way around. I have, like, 3 Ravens on my fucking roster, and I'm like, I'm not going to draft any Steelers because, like, I don't want to be, like, I'm like, favoritism. I'm like, I want my bias to, like, not work against me. There's no way to do it. Anything for you, fuckboy?
I have a joke.
Oh! Another one. What a bounty of humor.
A blowjob is just a deep kiss.
That's not a joke. That's a Hallmark card. All right. On that very inspiring and uplifting note, I'd like to thank you all for listening. Good luck this week. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you back here next week.